Hi everyone, welcome to episode 30 of YarnAdelaide Knits podcast. Podcast about knitting, spinning, a little bit of crochet, hand dyeing yarn and a few other bits and pieces. It's Thursday the 1st of June. So first day of winter here in Adelaide, or the northeastern suburbs of Adelaide, South Australia. My name's Nicole and I'll be your host today. It's been a little while since I last podcast, almost a month. I have been busy and then I got struck down with a cold that I thought I was recovering from pretty quickly, and then it took a bit of a turn and left me in bed for a day, and just the congestion and the sniffles, and it just wasn't very tasteful to be podcasting in front of you while I'm still trying to sniff, while I'm sniffing and constantly clearing my throat and coughing and what have you. A bit undesirable having to watch a podcast by choice and having to put up with that. So and then I was losing my voice and it was starting to drive me nuts. And it's funny because I was thinking, I haven't hit, usually when I get a cold it hits my chest and my throat and stuff, and I lose my voice, become a bit of a drag queen, a very deep and husky voice. And I sort of made a mental note on it one day, one of those days that I was sick, and then the following day I started losing my voice. And I think when I was at the Guild Open Day, I was sort of battling through it, but probably having a day of speaking to everybody sort of left me very flat the following day, and proceeded to lose my voice. So anyway, today I have a finished object to show you. Some whips that have come out of the darkness that haven't had much attention for quite a few months, and now that we're into the cooler months, I've got them out and going, yes, I must fix them or finish them. And I think I've got a little bit, I've got something that I'm a little bit of an update on my designing, and a shop update for Cola Girl Collective. You can find me on Instagram as ColaGirl74, and there is a Ravelry group for the podcast called YarnAdelaide Knits Podcast Group. I try and get in there. It's a bit hard. Well, it's not so much that it's not hard. I find it... what is the word for it? I find it... No, it's not... I find it... I don't even know what the word to use for it, because it's not hard and it's not difficult, but it is challenging. Challenging to be the one that's constantly making up conversations in there, and I'm not very good at putting up show notes. Show notes have been a very huge challenge for me. If you want to see show notes, please let me know, because I'm not getting any feedback on whether you really want to see them. And of course, if you have any questions of what you've seen or what you haven't quite understood through the podcast, please let me know. So sometimes I I've already said it in one platform, do I need to say it again? Or if you understand where I'm going, sort of constantly repeating myself on the same thing, I'm not sure whether you want to hear it over and over and over and over again. So let's get into it, shall we? So enough of my babble. Okay, finished object. Well, and a bit of a design update. As many of you may know, I did launch a beanie pattern on Ravelry a couple of weeks ago. In my last podcast, I was talking to you about it. And across the ditch. it is called. It's a slouchy, simple cable beanie that has a pom-pom on top. Done in my Outback 8-ply double knit yarn, which is a 100% sustainable merino, so it's nice and soft and smushy, and yeah, it's a lovely beanie that is done in a really lovely yarn. They complement, when with the colder weather, they complement each other enormously. So I think anyway. Yeah, so for the weekend that it was launched, I think, what date was that? That was, I think, Friday the 19th of May I launched it, and then so I made it available for free over the weekend, and I couldn't believe how many people downloaded it. I was quite chuffed and very excited. I don't think that there's anybody on Ravelry anymore that frequently go onto Ravelry that don't have this pattern now. Yeah, I was very surprised at how many people did download it and favourite it, and yeah, I was really chuffed and very thankful. Yeah, and it kind of gave me some perspective on, you know, how many downloads or interest the Hot Right Now list does, you know, to get number 1, because this got to number 3, which I was pretty excited by, and it sort of gave me a bit more insight on how the Hot Right Now lists work, and to where usually I'd just go checking the top 20, but if you click on down below on it, you can see bigger pictures, and you can just see the constant list of what's hot right now. And yeah, so yeah, so yeah, you kind of got to give kudos to the more popular designers that are constantly working the system, shall we say, and constantly plugging and constantly designing and all that sort of thing, because it's not so much it's not easy, it's quite tedious, and then uploading it to Ravelry was tedious, and trying to navigate your way through there, because it's not exactly helpful, and it's not so much it's not helpful, it's not instantly helpful, because we're all across the world, we're all in different time zones, and when I'm, you know, got time to attend to it, they're, you know, where Ravelry is in America, they're sleeping. So yeah, that can be a bit frustrating and not getting the instant gratification for it, but you know, we're first world problem. Patience is a virtue. And all that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and love the projects that people are showing. And I don't think you guys saw the second one that I did. So this is in the Banksia colourway, which is like a dark, it's probably more, I was going to say, it's probably more a semi-solid, because it's a fairly solid colour, but you can see probably on the screen there, you can see slightly darker spots through there. So yeah, and being that it's 100% non-superwash wool, the absorption of the dye is it's not as intense if it was superwash, but it's yeah, it kind of bleeds. Bleed means bleeding out, but it's sort of, when it's absorbing, it absorbs a lot more freely, rather than an intensity in one spot like superwash wool can do. Yeah, so at the moment it's a $4 pattern, so which I think is quite reasonable for a design. After, you know, Ravelry and PayPal take their piece of the pie, I get a couple of bucks for my time and effort. And did I tell my $5 polystyrene mannequin head that I got from eBay is working well. I suppose while there, I did meet a lot of people at the Guild Open Day on Saturday the 20th, which was a week ago? 2 weeks ago. What's the date first? 10 days ago, shall we say. Yeah, and it was great to meet a few viewers, which was awesome, and they gave me some good feedback, and it was nice, and it was nice to get that feedback. You guys know who you are, and you purchased wonderfully, and thanks for your support. I really do appreciate it. Sometimes you get a little bit lost in the woods, and you have all these ideas and enthusiasm, and when you're a one-person show, it sometimes can get a bit lost, and you can lose a little bit of enthusiasm. And then when you've got people around you that aren't as supportive as what you think that they... No, you think that they've been supportive, but then you soon find out that they're not as supportive as what you think that they were. Yeah, it was nice and encouraging that a few outsiders appreciate what I do. So thank you so much, ladies, and it was awesome to meet you in person, and yeah, thanks for your support, and I can't wait to see what you buy or spin up with what you see what you make or spin up with the purchases that you made on Saturday. All in all, it was a good day, and the other ladies that were there selling their wares did well as well. So I think excuse me. That's why I didn't podcast last week. Sorry for that noise. If you can hear that, it's we've got, because we closed down our shop. Excuse me. We closed down our shop a couple of weeks ago, and we've brought it home, and we're doing a home delivery service. We've got a fridge set up in the back, and it makes a little bit of noise when it turns on and off. So obviously the temperature gauge kicked in, and the motor's chilling it down again. Excuse me. That's why I didn't podcast last week. I thought I'd be all right. So anyway, let's go into some whips. I've almost finished a pair of socks. Yeah, almost finished a pair of socks that I started before Christmas. Did I start them before Christmas, or was it early in the new year? So they've been going for 5 months, shall we? Almost 6 months, because it's the 1st of June. It's the 6th month now. Yeah, these were originally going to be a pair of socks for my husband. He's since stated, like, I've been trying to get him to wear wool socks for years, and I've made him a few pairs. And especially now that he's gone back working in the wholesale produce market, so he's up starting work at 1 o'clock in the morning. So Woolies, it's funny, he's raided all my stashes of beanies and cows and what have you for extra warmth while he's at market. And these socks, he likes socks, but he finds them, make his feet itchy when he takes them off, and he's come to the conclusion that they might be a bit tight, so I think I might have to adjust the amount of stitches that I cast on for him. I normally cast on 72. He has a very long, he's about a size 12 shoe, although I think he's about a size 11 foot, but he's got a very wide foot, so it ends up having to go into size 12 shoes, so they give him a little bit more width. There's a background on my husband's foot. And so he's finding, I think ultimately we've come to the conclusion that he's finding the socks that I have knitted him just a little bit tight. Now I use 2.5mm needles, because I find I'm happy with that gauge that it gives me. It's not too You know, it's the Goldilocks gauge for me. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, it's just right. But I think I might have to perhaps cast that 70, I think I might have to cast on perhaps a 76 stitch sock, just to give him a little bit more width through the leg. And they don't look like they're overly tight. They're a bit firm when I'm trying them on him to get the foot length right and what have you. But I kind of figure that will improve with age and general wear. But yeah, so the next pair, so these socks were originally supposed to be for him. I think they might end up being for my eldest son Silas. It's his birthday on Monday, on the 5th of June. So he might get these as a surprise, because I've only just got to sew, Kitchener stitch the toe, which has been on one of the little mini Addy, were they Addies? I think they were. Little short circulars, and I'm decreasing the toe on the second one, so they've only got another hour or so's work to finish them off. So they might be a bonus present for Silas for his birthday for him, unless, yeah, because Silas does kind of want socks, but he's more wanting gloves so he can put them on when he walks to school, because he's finding that very cold. But how ridiculous is this for him though? You know, he's complaining that he's cold walking to school, but he doesn't want to take a jacket to walk to school with, or put, say, a long sleeve t-shirt or something underneath his school shirt, and then his jumper on over the top. So what can you do? That's my vent for my children's rationale. The next one is something that I have, something for Silas again, and I'm hoping that I might be able to finish these before Monday for his birthday, is a pair of fingerless gloves. Something that he has been wanting for a while. I did start these last year, many podcasts ago. You may have seen them. And they are the Koju fingerless gloves by Astrante. They're a free pattern that you can get on Ravelry. Okay, they're lady size gloves. So there's a small and a large. They're done on 2mm needles and 2.5mm needles. And this is the first glove. So he wanted them in black. So this is Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 4-ply. I think the black is called Raven somehow, from what I vaguely remember. Yeah, I did. I think I did a finger, or did I do two? No, I did 2 fingers last night. Did 2 fingers last night, and so yeah, I had got all the way there. So hopefully, I will be able to get these knocked out. I never really. It's only of late, and because I have to, wear glasses and stuff now, and the light's not bright at night, but I really do see a difference when I'm working with dark yarn, that I do find it hard to see it, which is interesting. So yeah, so that's for Silas. Hopefully I'll get them done for him for Monday for his birthday. It'll be a bonus little present for him. And then, because Justin is working at the market and working early mornings in the nice cold winter, I started a pair for him. They're in, but I'm doing the larger, and he's got big hands because he's got big feet. So I've gone up to a 2.25 for the cuff, and then I'm going to do a 2.75 for the hand and do the larger size. Hopefully that will make them big enough for him to be able to wear, because I did knit a pair for my younger son and finished them, and he's been wearing them, and they do stretch out of shape quite a bit. So yeah, so that will you know, hopefully that will be big enough for him. I can edit that out. The yarn that I'm using for Justin is Dreamtime 4-ply. I think I got this in a Royal Show prize a couple of years ago. Yeah, entries for the Royal Show are out again. So yeah, which is, when do they do it? The beginning of September. Very beginning of September is the Adelaide Royal Show, and I used to enter, but then I got a bit annoyed with the whole thing, the lack of guidelines in what they want you to, guidelines with your entries, and the lack of transparency of who the judge is. So last year I didn't enter, and unless those things start to change, I have really no intention of entering again in the foreseeable future, which is a bit disappointing, but anyway, that's, you know, where I stand. And I've got my, and I was finding it like a bit, and it's through nobody's fault at all, but it was a bit annoying because you'd say want to enter your jumpers or sweaters and cardigans and what have you, and there'd be a winter item, but you couldn't wear it. You'd make it, but you couldn't wear it because you're entering it in the show at the beginning of spring. So they never really gave you much opportunity to wear it, and then you'd have to wait until the following winter to wear what you had made. So yeah, the sort of planning of the whole thing was a bit annoying to me, but you know, that's a bit tedious. Now, one other thing that has come out of hiding is my Balsam Ridge jumper by Melissa Shaftesbury. Maybe I might have got it in the ballpark of pronouncing it. So it's I'll show you a picture. It's a paid for pattern, so I won't go into too much detail for it. There's a front page. I have showed this to you guys before, but a very, very long time ago. That's it there. So I'm always a fan of a huge cowl chunky neck, and I've knit myself a few cardigans and jackets like this. This one is the Saddleback cardigan by Jennifer Hagen, which was in the fall 2014 issue of Interweave magazine, which I absolutely love. I find that I use it quite a lot. And I've got a Central Park hoodie, I've got the Header Fudo cardi, I've got a featherweight, and I've got a cabled vest that sort of doesn't fit me very well because I didn't have enough yarn. But I don't have a jumper that I can just chuck on that is, you know, without being like a Nike or an Adidas jumper or whatever. Something that's nice and casual, but you know, you feel like you've made an effort when you've chucked it on. If that makes sense. So it's been something that I have wanted to knit for a while, and just finding something that would suit my body type and that wouldn't be, yeah, it would suit me. And you ultimately don't really know what something is going to look like on you until you've spent your 20, 30, 50 hours knitting it, spending all the money on the yarn and what have you, and then you try it on. So yeah, so and I ended up having to pull back what I had showed you previously months ago, because I didn't think it was going to fit me very well, so I ended up having to go to the next size up. And I think I explained in the last time I showed you this, it is made in Debbie Bliss's cotton Angora, which I think is discontinued now. It's 80% cotton and 20% Angora. So I was worried, the sizing that I chose for it, I'm thinking the cotton is going to stretch, and the Angora I don't think has much memory in it either, so I was worried about it stretching out of shape, so I was going for the smaller size, thinking it was going to naturally give a positive ease eventually. But then I was trying it on and it was still kind of a bit negative ease, and I was worried that I was going to go to all that effort and it wouldn't fit me. And so I've gone up the bit to the next size, and hopefully it won't look like a moo-moo on me and look really oversized, because I don't want that either. But something that I knit in the mornings when I first wake up, when I have my coffee. Yeah, it's got a bit of lace detail. I'm not sure whether you can see that very well on the screen. So you might have seen it a bit better in the photo. And I love the colour. The colour's really nice. Kind of not a huge fan of Angora. I did have grand ideas to, once the 3 rabbits that I've got here passed, because they're getting on. I'm getting on to be about 5 years old now. I was going to get Angoras, but I don't like the fibre, to be honest. It's too fluffy, and it sheds and it tickles, and yeah, it's beautiful and soft, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the fibre itself. And then I'm not, I don't know if this Angora was ethically sourced either, so yeah, I'm a bit, it's made in Peru, so yeah, I don't know. And I figured the reselling it and passing it on to someone else would probably, yeah, it probably wouldn't happen, and throwing it in the bin I think wouldn't do justice of the poor rabbit if it wasn't shorn properly. Or yeah, so I'm stuck with it, and the colour is still still winning me over. So anyway, moving on from that, going to my last work in progress that I have been doing. Remember that blue shawl that I started designing? Well, I pulled it out, and because I didn't like where I placed the pattern part of it, it kind of needed to be moved over. So I pulled it out and started something else that has been ticking away up here for a while. Something that my mum has wanted, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see. She probably won't like it, but I'll use it as a design prototype, shall I? And that's basically a shrug. A shrug that will be nice and loose, kind of almost kimono-like, but have more fitted sleeves. And then it'll have a panel at the back with some cable and lace. I wanted to do just cable, but Mum liked lace, so I found this. Oh, come on. I'm not quite done enough yet to really hold it out, so so you can see the lace. Can you see that? And it's got 3 cable panels, one on either side and one through the centre. So yeah, this again will be a design for 8-ply. Essentially it's going to just be one big square rectangle panel. And yeah, so it's a bit not much, what's the word for it? I'm finding my knitting is because their garments are taking a while and I'm not getting the instant gratification. So it's a bit slow going. So hence why I've kind of, I think I stuck it out for a week with just these two as my knitting, and then I couldn't cope with it anymore. It's just, it was bogging me down. So I got the socks out again to finish them off. That is knit. I'm knitting that one at the moment in kind of a yarn that I got in a D-stash. And it is, I think it's another discontinued, another old one, Payton's Luxury Alpaca. 40% wool, 40% acrylic and 20% alpaca. And you'd think it'd be softer than what it is, and it's not that soft. I'm sort of a bit, but because it was red, that's why I got it in the D-stash. Because red's my favourite colour. So yeah, that's about everything in my whips and my finished objects to show you. Told you about my across the ditch, told you about the open day. Oh, open day also, and my acquisitions is some YarnAdelaide that I got from Mia. So I got her her 85-15 superwash merino 15% nylon. I think that's similar to one of my bases actually, and the colour is juniper, and it feels very much like it. Juniper is the purple, the tonal purple, and crush that. So had nothing in mind to make with this, bar that I wanted it. And you don't see Mia out and about much, where you can see, feel and touch her stuff. I think she lives fairly locally to me, to be honest. But yeah, and everybody begrudges paying postage, so I thought, well, I have to buy it. I didn't have the money for it, but I had a relatively good day at the open day as well, so I reinvested in for my own sanity. I'm not sure what I will make with that. Yeah, I really like those two. And something else. Something that I forgot to get. I entered into a swapless swap, which was on the Grocery Girls podcast for Stranded Dye Works, to receive mini skeins, which Stranded Dye Works is getting a bit of a buzz, and their colourways are lovely. Yeah, so I got, but whoever made up the mini skeins did an absolutely shocking job of it. Some of the colourways that I got. And yeah, it's basically in a bag like that with a sticker on it for you to make it up yourself of what colours belong, what names belong to what colours. So I was a bit disappointed with the way it was packaged and the way it was sent out to me. There wasn't much love put into it, and being that it cost me over $50 Australian to get it was a bit disappointing, to be honest. Colours are lovely, and I don't think it's through any fault of the dyer, because the dyer sends it to somebody else and then somebody else distributes it out. But yeah, I think she might be getting a little bit overwhelmed with the product that she's putting out. So yeah, but some beautiful colourways, and I want to, I think I want to make some Franken socks with them, where you make up a pair of socks out of mini skeins. But I don't know whether I want to divide each skein into two, so they're the same socks, or just knit a whole sock randomly, like two pairs of socks that are different colours that are randomly together. Or do I want to add some symmetry? This, I think that's her flamingo colourway that is very, very popular, and I can see why, seeing it in the raw, why it is, because I love coral and pink, and then with a dash of black it just calms it down but gives it more spunk. Yeah, so I'm sort of procrastinating about how I want to make the Franken socks, because that will then mean that I have to cut yarn, and I don't like to do cut yarn. So I was thinking I'll make them concurrently, so I divide the skeins in two and then make them concurrently, or even two at a time, and yeah, just do one colour at a time on both socks. I think if you make them concurrently, then you can knit all of one colour on one sock, and then knit all of one colour on another sock, and then the next colour, the next colour, and the next colour. So that way you know the measurements as you're going, so that they will be fairly exactly the same as if you were knitting them two at a time. And that's something that I haven't done, that I've wanted to do, is knit socks concurrently. But yeah, it's sort of up here at the moment. And then that, because they'll probably end up being basic vanilla socks, but they'll be a bit fiddly because you'll be changing colours all the time, so they won't be as easy, like take out, you know, the knitting in public kind of knitting. So yeah, I think that's about everything that I have to show you, bar a bit of a shop update for Collar Girl Collective. So, I've got some bags to show you, some sort of new style of bags, and some fibre that I've introduced to the store on Etsy. A couple of them are already listed there, and a couple I've still yet to be listed. So I did have fibre at the open day on the 20th of May at the Guild, and I sold a couple. I had four braids, and I sold two, and I've still got two. So I'll show you the two that I didn't sell. So there's this one. They are all at 18.5 micron, 100% merino, Australian merino. So I do like. So this has got a pale minty green and a beige colour. I think it was only two colours that I used on it. So it's got some lighter and darker spots in it. Did I use a third colour? I can't remember. At the moment, with the colours that I'm using for my fibre dyeing, they're fairly one of a kind, and whatever tickles my fancy on the day. I haven't taken any notes of them, and yeah, so that is a greeny colour, and then that one, the greenie's called, what do I call that one? Bethany. And then the blue, and I think, what did I do for this? I think this had a bit of brown and a bit of teal and another blue. So you can see. Again, and I called that one Bashful. And then I dyed a couple more only a couple of days ago. And I did this one, which is a grey and two tones of purple. One's a bit more bluer and one's a bit more lilac colour. I really like this one. I think once that's spun out, it'll be a really nice sheer grey purple that would look really nice. I should look really nice as a spun up jumper, spun and then knitted up jumper. I really like that one. And then I did this one. This one, I think I used a similar colour that I used to make Banksia. and then a red that I haven't used very much of. And it comes out like a real bright orangey colour. It'll be interesting to see how that spins up when the reds and the purple are blended. See how that goes. That would be interesting. So yeah, so that's my fibre. The other two bits I've got to take photos. I tried to take photos I think about a week ago, and it was a really overcast, it was a really overcast day, and the photos that I was taking just was not making, like, for instance, I tried to photograph this is another colourway called Prom Dress. My year 11 school prom, I wore a dress this colour. I should get the photo because it was huge big shoulders. It was a wedding dress pattern, and it was, yeah, that purple taffeta. It was all rouge down the front, big huge shoulders. Then it had sort of a V-neck and sort of black velvet panel V-neck, and it went down the middle, and then a full drop waist skirt that had netting lining, and yeah, made it huge. Yeah, it was, you know, me at 15, 16. So yeah, so I got 2 skeins of that, and that's in the 8-ply, the Outback DK. And I think you guys have seen this one. I think my last podcast, I think you saw this one. That's Commando, which is I've dyed it one colour and then I've over dyed it another, so it gives a real almost two-tone effect. Kind of, you know, you look at it in the daylight and it almost looks like it's split, which gives it a real nice interest. And then I've got some silky colours, some Tilly DK, which is a 75% ultrafine 19.5 micron superwash merino and 25% mulberry silk. So there's a greeny colour. I think you might have, I can't remember, you may have seen this colour as well. This colour's called Penny. It's a real nice, happy green. And then I'm thinking I can't variegate dye the Outback because I don't know, I've explained it many times, it just doesn't absorb the same way as I like a superwash. And then I realised I had the Tilly, which is a superwash merino and silk. So it can cope with speckle dyeing. So this colour is a variegated colourway. What do I call that? I called it exclusive because it was just using up what was left in some bottles that I thought would go nicely together, which I really do like how it did turn out, but I didn't take any notes of it. And then but I did take notes of this one. I made this one up as well, and it's called Kindergarten Treasures because it reminds me of many a painting that I got from the boys from kindergarten and from childcare. Scarlett hasn't found the paint box yet. The painting at Occasional Care where she is today, but I'm sure she will enjoy it once she has found it. So yeah, so there, and yeah, the purple when I was taking photos was washing out and looking grey, and yeah, it just wasn't capturing the true colour, so I'm wondering whether dyeing now, I mean not dyeing, taking photos now would be a bit better. I think I might have to get, I did take a a lot of photos in a foam box, like a foam white box, which kind of imitates one of those photo boxes. And at the time I didn't think it was taking very, it was alright photos, but they weren't the best. But then in looking back at them, I think they're a lot more true to colour than what other photos I've been taking, so I might have to get another broccoli box and clean it out and use it as my backdrop for my photo taking again. So also I have made some bags again, and I've made some snap block bags. So this is a small 1 skein size, and it's got the 2 snaps on the top, which I find, this bag is a snap block bag. I find they're quite good and easy to do up, and yeah, you don't have to worry about them the zips getting caught up in the yarn and scaring the bejesus out of you when it happens, because we all know what's happened. We try for it not to happen. But one thing my friend did suggest, because especially when you've got bigger projects and there's more knitting in there than the yarn, they kind of fill up. But if you put your pattern over the top so the yarn is underneath, and then you zip up, it does protect your knitting. So I thought that was a good idea. And even though the zips are nice, I do like the snap lock. So there's that one in the small size, and I've got this one as well. So you've got, I'll show you the inside. So that's the inside of that one, and then you've got these flowers, the yellow flowers, and that's the inside of that one. So they're kind of all one of a kind, because the inside is never the same as the outside, and the zips or the snaps that I use are never the same coordination. Well, not that I've made a hell of a lot of them to be able to double up now. And there's just a small one with a zip and a handle, and then that's got the yellow lining on the inside. So they have the small size, and then I did a medium sized one in the pink roses with the brown background with the pink snaps and the yellow flowers on the inside. So yeah, so again, I've got to take photos, and then they'll be listed in the shop as well. Of course, if there's anything that you've seen today that you like, what you see, please get in contact, and I'm quite happy to arrange postage and what have you with it. Other than that, and they will go in the shop as soon as I get them listed. So hopefully it'll happen over the next few days. Yeah. I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. I don't think I've got a guild on Saturday, and then the Blackwood Knitting Group on Sunday, which we're all getting organised. Where at the cafe that we meet, at the Artisan Cafe in Blackwood, they have a kind of an exhibition each month. They have one wall where they put either paintings, they've done tea cozies, they've done some other sculptures and that sort of thing. And yeah, and in July is the knitting group having an exhibition, so there'll be stuff, hand knits and stuff for sale there. So I'm organising what I've got for sale and my contribution as part of the group to sell a few hand knits up there. Yeah, so that's coming up, and then it looks like I might be able to sell my yarn with Yarnarama in the July craft fair at the showgrounds, which ends up being on the same weekend as Bendigo. So it's around I think the 20th of July, that same weekend. And it's funny, since we've sort of closed the shop and working from home now, we have our weekends to ourselves, and then it's given me the opportunity that I might be able to go to Bendigo. And that's kind of, as much as I'd love to go to Bendigo, I don't think I'm in the financial position to even go there as a consumer, as a customer. I don't think I have, you know, a few $100s to spend on yarn. It'd be nice to go, but I think I need to, know where my bread's buttered, and take an opportunity to get my product out there a bit more over a weekend, and work on my product, and then next year. But then it scares me also, again, being that might be the only, you know, next year is still over 12 months away. Circumstances might change, and I might not have the opportunity like I have now in, about 5 weeks' time. So yeah, but I need to be sensible. I need to strategize. So yeah, and ultimately, I don't think I'm in the financial situation to be able to, you know, spend money getting over there, accommodation, and spending money. But I will get there one day, maybe next year. And maybe next year I might be a vendor. Who knows? I think that's about it, guys. I'll love yous and leave yous. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you like what you see. Thanks for all my subscribers. Thanks for anybody new stopping by. Much appreciated. And hopefully I'll be on track and see you again in a fortnight. Check out Cold Girl Collective on Etsy. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.